Huge question over on Reddit this week, and it's going to fuel our main topic coming up in just a second. Was Steep better than Riders Republic? That plus the current news around the game coming up in just a few seconds. Welcome back to the Riders Report. Today's episode is brought to you by our YouTube members. Thank you as always to executive producers Bonecrusher2D and Coach34, along with co-producers It's the Mort and Mitch's mom, and our fans and Fans Plus. If you'd like to become a member and help support the channel, hit join down below for cool perks like early access to the shows, emojis and badges, exclusive Discord roles, members-only content, sneak peeks, and more.
A slow news week from Riders Republic, but we do have an update on the Tartiflette Games Best Trick series. We have more submissions now, 36 roughly, covering all 5 of the sports. And you still have time to submit some clips. They will be due January 16th, and you can submit 1 clip per sport.
Sorry, we forgot to mention up at the end of news there, if you are still looking to submit for TFG Best Trick, you can find the link to submit down below. You can also find it over on our Discord, which we will promo at the end of this video. Before we get started with the main topic, I want to apologize for me before we get started here. Went to a football game, an American football game this weekend, and completely lost my voice. So if I sound like I am tired or I'm not energized, it's just because I can't speak. So I'm going to try and do my best with minimal voice cracks and minimal coughs, but we are all good, and we have one heck of a discussion to get into today. I really think we're going to go over our time that we were trying to shoot for. You and I were already firing bombs at this topic before we even recorded.
Yeah, this is, we got through the first 10 episodes of going relatively easy, and now it's time for the criticism on the game. Mm-hmm. It can't just ride off scot-free. And it came up on Reddit too, which is why we thought this was now a good time to discuss this. So there was a thread that became pretty popular called, "Is there anything Steep did better than Riders Republic?" And it's from a person who never really played Steep, but was wondering if it was still worth looking at. They just started playing Riders Republic, but we're curious to see if Steep's also worth going back to, and had 55 comments from people going back and forth. And I think everyone has an opinion on this. So it's, it's time to dig in.
Yeah. And man, one of the first opinions I saw made my eyes roll to the back of my head. Mm-hmm. It bothers me, and Reddit is just the farming ground for it right now. But with much better customization, outfit customization over there in Steep. It's not a look at the game. I have an issue with the outfit stuff. I believe that they should fix the store and it should be updated, but that's not an end-all be-all of the game. Mm-hmm. To look at this game and say, well, you can't wear a pair of shoes. You're not focusing on the big picture there. So that's just one of the first comments that I saw in here was talking about how, the shop is much better over in Steep. So that put a bad taste in my mouth.
Mm-hmm. It's just the outfits are a huge talking point from everyone right now. Eventually, after seasons roll out, we'll probably have the same number of outfits that you had in Steep. It's just the fact that when you got Steep, you had access to almost all of them right there. Yeah. You had to do some challenges to unlock different outfits and boards and skis, different accessories you could wear. You still have that in Riders Republic with the sponsors, where you can unlock sponsor-related gear and clothing as you level those up. It just isn't as clear as it was, where you would visit the store page or outfits like that you owned in Steep, and it would show everything in the game. And then if you couldn't wear it, it had a lock symbol and said, play this challenge to unlock this reward. In Riders Republic, you only see, like the 3 pieces of clothing you have. And then you have to go look at the daily shop, see if they have anything there, check your sponsor things, see what outfits they have, go check the Shack Daddy challenges, see if they have different outfits.
Yeah.
And it takes a while. It takes a long time to put together the kit you want. Right now I got a Red Bull shirt and not much to match with it, so I can't wear it.
Yeah. No, you're right. All right. have not been looking at it in the right light. I guess when I'm on Reddit, I'm looking for more discussion of gameplay and challenges and where to find and how to beat and, look at this weird glitch. And it just seems so saturated with the store customization. And yeah, I do understand because they promoted this game as full customization. And I mean, we all thought that we were going to be able to have full customization over our kits, including our sports. We thought we were going to be able to decide the color of the bike. And that's just not the case. So yeah, I don't know. But I think for sake of time and for sake of sanity, we should move away from the store to talk about what we actually were here to talk about. And that is whether or not Steep is better than Riders Republic. You and I were talking beforehand about how you and I are kind of biased. We kind of have, we're leaning towards one side because of what it is we do here on the channel. We are creators. We are looking for full autonomy in the game. We don't want a ton of hurdles to have to jump through to get the product that we want. Right now, we do not have a video editor. Right now, we don't have a lot of outfits to use. And it's just difficult to see this game in the same light as Steep in certain aspects.
Yeah, we dive into games like this, do all the challenges or most of the challenges. I still haven't finished Steep, but I've gotten through most of the challenges in Riders Republic. Once I do that though, I need something else to do in the game. I'm not a huge fan of the multiplayer modes right now. They're fine. That's a whole nother tangent we can go on, or a separate video on what they could do to improve those. But the multiplayer modes aren't as gripping, and there is no kind of content creator focused thing outside of photo mode, which is okay. But once we beat a game like Steep, we want to go in, film some really cool tricks, or put together an edit. Like the Check My Steez, the blinding lights video I did was, one of my favorite things I did in Steep. And it took probably like 10 hours of in-game time of me going through the editor and recording runs. And that's what brings enjoyment to me. I can't do that right now in Riders Republic, and it doesn't have the addicting component of other games that I like to play, like Riders Republic. Man, I almost just threw myself under the bus. Doesn't have the addicting component of Rocket League or NHL or Fortnite.
Say it. Yep.
There it is. That's what they were trying to go for, I think, with this game, and it's just not quite there. And the addictiveness of Fortnite and the new one, Deep Rock Galactic, I've been playing too. Just a very rewarding gameplay progression system that I feel like this lacks.
Yeah. And we've been saying it since before the game was even released that it was bumped up. Obviously, they've had more money. They've had more studios working on this. Steep was created by a very small team of skiers for skiers. So your snow physics were great. Your ski carving was phenomenal. You had pro skiers that were just hands down just praising Steep because it actually felt like it wasn't a simulator, but it was like one step away from a simulator. It put you in that world. It gave you that immersion of a snow sport athlete. Riders still has that arcadey feel. And it seems like it's kind of biting it in the behind right now. It's not as all-encompassing as we would have thought at the beginning. It's not as gripping for an audience that isn't looking for snow sports. Someone who doesn't care about biking, someone who doesn't care about snowboards may not find as much enjoyment in this game as we initially thought. They were looking for an arcadey. They were looking for bright colors and fun sounds and all of that to bring in a new audience. And I just don't think that they have all of the components there to hold that crowd and the diehards that are looking for a Steep 2.
It's such an interesting, I don't know, study on game development just in itself. Like, people talk about this all the time. I know a lot of people don't like the skiing if they liked steep skiing. That seems like the general consensus from our community. Even Steep on his stream earlier this week, people were asking him, why aren't you skiing as much, or when are you going to do skiing? And he just said, it's not as fun for me as Steep's skiing. The bike is more interesting to him right now, and the bike is butter in the game. Yeah. He's like, maybe once I get my fill of biking, I'll switch back over to skiing and try and nail it down more, but it's just a little too arcadey, less control. Can't do some of the really cool tricks you could do with the natural features you could do in Steep. So I do think it has lost some of that. And like you mentioned too, the Steep was built by skiers and snowboarders and mountain lovers for that. Steep, or Ubisoft ANSI, was still working on other games at the time, I believe. They were always a support studio that worked on multiplayer components. And I think when we were there, they had like the Rabbids launch party. Their team worked a little bit on that.
Mario Rabbids.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed. They were a support studio for a lot of the online components. So Assassin's Creed Online. That was one of the main studios that built the online multiplayer of Assassin's Creed. Just to give you an idea, like they were a support studio. They were doing DLCs for big titles.
And it comes into they're making money from those games and working on those. And then Ubisoft HQ says you can also work on Steep and, dedicate your team to that. You can dedicate some team to our stuff. Once that did all right, I assume it goes to Riders Republic and they're like, we're going to give you 4 studios to work on this. It is the sole focus of you. So they need to make it appeal to the masses. And then that's where it goes out of the realm of just trying to focus on skiers and snowboarders in real life. And they're like, how can we get every gamer out there to at least have interest in this game?
That's the issue.
And you're going to make some compromises there. I still like it. It's fun. It's, a good game.
Yeah. But, in coming from, I'm sorry, were you done? I don't want to cut you off.
I guess my last part was I would just, we probably won't ever get to hear it. I would be really curious to see the sales compared to Steep, like month to month for the first year. And I don't think they have it anywhere, but I would love to see the number of players online and see how that has changed over the past few months.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you obviously feel that Riders has dipped more than Steep did. I think Steep had a slower build up to what it became. I don't feel like Steep was, again, that's years ago. It's hard to just think back to 5-6 years ago when it came out. I know that you and I were hyped. But I don't remember a huge crowd of people that were like, Steep is the next game. It kind of, slowly creeped in where folks started to release videos and other people are saying, wait, what is this game? I saw a buddy playing it. I saw a video online. I saw Steep, and this game looked cool, so I'm going to buy it on, later on. Seemed like organic community marketing kind of drove Steep in the back half of its career.
Yeah, from like E3, the only people that cared about it were people like us that saw that and were like, we love the mountains.
They were
and now
skiers.
there's a mountain game. And it just kind of grew more and more. I'm sure it dipped off from the initial sales too, but I think just with the addition of like the Olympics DLC, Japan, it did grow and didn't have the massive drop off. I feel like Riders Republic will go through more of a Fall Guys type approach where they started with 1 million and then it dropped down and then it's going to ride that for a while and then probably spike up and up when whenever they release some things. I do know the subreddit moderator, he posted some cool charts one time in one of our chats that shows like how many people visited the page, and you could see for Steep it was like launch going down and then like DLC. That might be the best metric we have, and if we can get those from Riders Republic Reddit too, be interesting to see where those spikes lie.
Yeah, well, I know that there's some bleed over with moderators, so maybe we can message one of them on Reddit and see if we can grab those graphs for this episode here, not to put you on the spot. I just feel this is so up in the air, and it can go either way. And, obviously you and I are just waiting for certain elements to make it to the game, where we think that is, I truly think that that's where you're going to see that plateau. Once a video creator comes into this game, once, some more flexibility in the world is put into this game, whatever that may be, I feel like that's where we're going to reach our plateau. Right now, we're losing folks. And, this isn't saying that the game is bad, but you were saying it earlier, and I'm in the same boat. You're saying Riders Republic is like 7th in your playlist on your PlayStation of games that you've most recently played. It is not number 1, and it's not number 1 for me either. It's fun to go in there. It's great to explore. I love the bike riding, but it doesn't hold my attention. I have yet to do like a 6-7 hour session in Riders Republic. It for me, it just doesn't hold my interest as much as Steep did.
Yeah, and that comes
right now.
Yeah, and there's some of the smaller stuff that people talked about too that were in Steep that made it a game that you want to come back to or made it easier. Some of the smaller ones that popped up were the unlimited helicopter tickets once you reached a certain level. I think that needs to be added once you finish the Ridge Invitational. And once you've beaten the career, you should be able to just start anywhere on the map at any point in time. The other one, whenever you're trying to continuously repeat a trick, tripping over words again. Don't have the rewind system, the steep system where you got to the bottom, held triangle, went back up right to where you started that line. That made it so people would just keep trying to do the coolest trick at a certain spot. And the rewind mode right now just isn't great. And if you rewind and hit the go all the way back to start immediately, it takes you like back to where you spawned in, not to where you started that sport, like where you got on foot and then switched back to a sport. So that it takes too much time to try that cool stuff. Another just one I'll throw out there just because we're on the spotlight right now. I would like a system like GTA Online where you can spawn in a random part in the map every time you log into the game. Ooh, I understand why you log into the ridge, but right now when I do play this game, I log into the ridge, check the stores and stuff, and then I just ride in a random direction in the bike. And now I've seen all of the directions around the ridge. And once I finish playing one game, jump into riders, ride the bike 5 minutes. I'm like, I've seen this before. Close the game.
It's the same line.
Yeah.
Right.
Close the game. Not interested enough to like go to the map, go pick a spot and ride from there. So just something to change it up a little bit.
Right. And I mean, talking about lines and all of that, Just Steep It brought up some points. I liked, not biased, I liked Just Steep It's post. He gave a lot of Steep positives and a lot of Steep negatives as well. One of the biggest negatives of Steep, small lobbies, no crossplay or cross progression. Say what you will about the game, but the fact that we can play with whoever we want, regardless of how it plays, the fact that we can now play cross-platform and the lobbies are 50 plus people, that's phenomenal. And that's a huge step forward. And that does make the game more enjoyable than Steep in that community aspect. However, you were talking about lines out of Riders Ridge. Do you remember like taking 10 minutes on a line in Steep? Where it just seemed like it never ended.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this at first until I saw Just Steep It's comment. He's saying that the map of Steep was taller than Riders Republic's was. I'm not sure. I don't quote that as a fact. But he feels like the mountains were bigger, which allowed for more space to, put a long line down.
Yeah.
Either that or it's just how the mountains were built.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, it must be the way the mountains are built. Because I feel like some of them in Riders Republic are at least tall. I mean, I don't ride too much up in the Tetons, but it's just a lot of it's very steep.
In Riders, I've never felt like I've gotten lost on a line before. Like I always feel like I'm still kind of in it and I know where I am. It does kind of feel smaller to me. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I do have one thing that Riders Republic did better. Bikes.
I don't want this main topic to come across as us not being fans of Riders or us, saying we miss Steep in the good old days. It is so early on. Like you said, it took Steep a few DLCs to come out. It took Steep until they had the unlimited helicopter tickets because that wasn't when the game launched. That wasn't a thing when the game launched. No, it was not.
Are you sure?
I remember when they announced that.
Oh, I guess.
I forget what the timeline was, but I do remember that they were like, hey, now when you get to level 25, helicopter tickets are unlocked. And everyone was like, thank God. Because that was one of the biggest things. It's very hard to spawn in where you wanted to go. A lot of the DLCs, like you said, the Olympics, the X Games, those offered huge changes and advancements in Steep. So I'm not writing Riders Republic off by any means. We are both still fans. We're going to stay loyal. We haven't even seen a video editor yet. So there's a lot more that is to come in the future. Just right now where it stands, it doesn't seem to be hitting as hard as most of us expected it. I think that's the best way to word it. Yeah,
it's, still a really fun game when I want to play it. I love riding around. I love some of the challenges. Art style. Multiplayer is great. Yeah, the art style, sounds, everything, feeling of speed on the bikes. It is great. And you're right again, like Steep didn't have grinding until the Alaska DLC. And then they didn't have any grinding in the Alps to do. It wasn't until we had Alaska and then in Japan we finally got a lot of rails in the parks. So that was just missing from Steep at the beginning and wasn't in there for the first year. And a better director mode wasn't in there until, like, there was a basic one, but the better director mode wasn't added in till, I don't know, the X Games or the Olympics, I want to say. So
Right.
they have time, and they already have a timeline, which is pretty big. They have multiplayer modes they want to announce. The one interview that's now months ago, they said they're working on a director mode. So just hope that comes out soon. I think they wanted to get this game launched. With COVID, they had to delay it, and that stuff should be coming as long as the community's still around.
They cut corners because the world ended for like a couple months. If all of this is triggering you, or you really want to speak your mind on this, there is another thread over on Reddit this week that is talking about a community wish list. Some folks wanted to put together a wish list for the developers, not as demands, not as your game sucks and here's how you fix it, just here's what we want. So that might be a great conversation after you're done with this episode, with this main topic, to hop over to Reddit and to find that wish list. I still think it's pretty high up in the most recent. Oh, it's pinned.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So yeah, go ahead on over there and see what the wish list says. You are not alone in thinking that this game needs one more push to get it to where you need to be. But yeah, it is a great foundation. Let's leave it at this. It is a significantly better starting point than Steep had. Steep was like bare bones when we started it, and we made it magical. This game is magical, and we need to figure out how to make it what we want. I don't know. That was a terrible closing statement.
That's a great ending. No, that's ending.
Beautiful. All right.
It works. It works.
Please don't hate us, writers. We are back once again with the Writers Roundup, and it's time to pick our favorite photos of the week. Wait a minute. We changed this up last week, didn't we?
Yeah, Coach came up with the idea, Coach 34, of doing a scavenger hunt. So we post a picture, and then you have to find the spot and take just a picture showing that location. And we had 2 people find it, but actually they found it in multiple places. Cinematic and Nate Hotshot both found your location.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to tell you where this one was. It's in a few different locations. I will give you the short and skinny. If you're looking for this location that's on screen, it's on screen. It is near a couple different Shack Daddy challenges, primarily the ones with the drummer, the guy that's playing a drum, and you hear like that different hippie music, desert hippie music. That's where this was taken.
Yeah, I remember after the episode, I'm like, can you send me the coordinates? You're like, I actually don't know, but it's by the one drummer guy that's like by the Shack Daddy Bandit challenge. I'm like, you mean the drummer guy that's at 4 or 5 different places around the map at the same fabricated piece? Yeah. So Cinematic and Nate found it in 2 separate places, the desert and the snow. Do you remember which one it was?
This was definitely the desert. I do remember that.
Okay. There you go. Yeah. We have solved.
And that was who? Which
Cinematic
one?
found it.
Cinematic. And he found it the same day that the video posted. I believe he sent you on Wednesday last week. That's phenomenal. Well done, Sino.
Yeah. He said the second he saw it, he knew exactly where he could find that. So he did great.
Yep.
He actually found or sent another location for you to find, which is on screen right now. I think I have seen this one. We'll have to ask him for sure, but I believe I've visited this spot before. I won't give any more hints than that.
Sweet. Yeah. If you feel like you've seen this before, go try and find it, take a picture, and send it back to us. I believe we're going to try to allow the winner, or at least the first person to submit, to give us the next location. That sounds like that works, right?
Yeah, that works.
Give them they get the option to submit. And if not, you and I will supplement with another screenshot. Regardless, if you have a location that you feel would work for this kind of scavenger hunt challenge, DM one of us over on Discord. We would love to just have a collection of these. And please send the rough coordinates of where they are so we don't have another mess up like mine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much to Cinematic and Nate Hotshot for playing last week. And best of luck to everyone playing next week.
Yes. We also had...
submit your pictures and to DM us on Discord with your pictures of this bear.
There's also a photo album linked, the photo challenge album. You can just post it there if you want to, but don't go in there unless you want the answer spoiled for yourself. if someone else has posted it already, I guess, if that makes sense. But I can see who submitted the photos first anyway, so it doesn't matter too much.
Good deal.
But DMs always work better. We also grabbed some random self-promo stuff. Not too much going on, seems like, in the world right now. But I did watch today, actually, I think this morning, as we're recording, the Showdown of the Century went up on YouTube. There was Steep versus the Old Potato, who is also a very good Riders Republic player that wasn't in the Steep community too much, but he is around in this game. They went head-to-head in some score challenges and some races. And I believe the Old Potato's name is Mitch and Steep is Nick. So we have found our second duo. Maybe they will host the Mitch and Nick show or something like that.
We need a 2v2. That's what we need.
No. Can I get the other Nick then? We got it.
Hey!
Not just on you, on me too. Like we have to like switch or we'll just get.
Yeah, that'll work.
If you go watch their video and see what they can do, we will get decimated.
Or how about this? They ride for us or we ride for no, we can comment for them.
Something like that. And then they can comment
we
for
submit
us.
We submit to a challenge or something, a shred this spot, whatever, and it's Nick submitted, but it's actually the other Nick.
There's a lot of fun
Ghost
that could be
ride for
had with
each
those
other.
names.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the ideas are rolling.
The Nick and Mitch special.
That's what I'm saying, like a squared special, that'd be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
We can commentate their runs. That's what we do. The next time they do a 1v1, give it to us so Nick and Mitch can shoutcast Nick and Mitch.
And then they can host the show.
Sure, take it.
We have our doubles in case we ever need it.
Up next, over on Reddit, user Things for Stuff submitted a clip 3 days ago, just when he thought he had the win. Bumping someone with 97% of this run completed, bumps them over the last jump, and then rockets past across the finish line. There's no excuse. This is just silliness.
Yeah, I think that had something to do with the AI or being on elite difficulty or something where they always finish in the finish time. If that makes sense.
Oh, so it was like rushing to get there.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, I think it's that. Since there's this is the best way I think I can explain it. Just putting it together now. Mm-hmm. When you do a challenge against the computer, their times are set by a person that in real life, I believe.
Right.
But it's like if they have to finish in 1:18 seconds, that ghost will finish in 1:18. Now, close to the end, when you said he bumped him, I believe he bumped the guy off course, maybe even caused the ghost to crash, but the ghost still has to finish in the time. So the only way for it to happen was it to just go right past them.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
But
yeah,
it's
that
hilarious.
makes sense. That's phenomenal.
Right?
Reminder to give your ghost quite a buffer. They can hit you, but you should not ever hit them.
Don't mess with ghosts.
Don't mess
you know
with
that,
ghosts. Right? I absolutely know that. And somebody else who knows that, user Kurt, giving all of us a friendly reminder not to celebrate before you cross the finish line. Coming in with the draft costume, decides to do a celebratory backflip right before the finish line, bonks that back wheel on the finish line sign.
Yep.
And finishes in, oh no, he's in the river. I think he grabbed last place
gave up
for that one.
Yeah, he gave up.
Rough.
I've had moments like this in the game where you're at 80-90% and get bumped by an AI or hit a tree or hit something and just end up finishing in last place. This is just icing on the cake. One of my other big problems is that if you want to do tricks over a checkpoint, then you miss the checkpoint. And you know, he went for the backflip at the finish line and paid the price of falling straight down and not crossing.
Riders Republic gives you the parameters of how you're supposed to ride these races, folks. All right, just follow them. You will be fine. Screw your creativity just for now. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Riders Report. Thank you. Special thanks to our executive producers, Bone Crusher 2D and Coach 34, along with co-producers It's the Mort and Mitch's mom, along with our fans and Fans Plus. If you would like to become one of those members and help support this channel, you can hit join down below for cool perks like early access to this show, emojis and badges, members only video per month, sneak peeks, and more. I believe last week we said the January members video was going to be you and I rewatching episode 1 of the Steepcast, which was done 101 episodes ago. 101 weeks ago.
Yes.
So needless to say, it's going to be bad.
It's 11 minutes. It's short. It's no music, no backgrounds. It's awkward. Yeah. Well,
yeah, and it's quiet. Oh, the background noise is so much louder than us. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge just to hear what we said, let alone talk about what we said. If you don't have the money right now or just don't want to become a member, please just at least hit that subscribe button. Be sure that you catch all of our great Riders Republic content, including this show and our X Games style competitions. TFG Best Trick coming up very soon.
Yeah, you can also check out Instagram, Twitter, Discord is the big one. That's where the party always is. We have random chats, food chats. Gahan, the former community manager, just stopped in and said hello again. So there's a ton of fun stuff going on.
One of us. I think it's great to have you, Gahan. Thank you very much, especially to Gahan and everybody out there who has watched episode 11 of the Riders Report. Stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed. You got that bell to let you know when we go live next with our new video. Just a hint, it's going to be same place, same time next week. Wednesdays, 9 a.m. Eastern, Riders Republic. The Riders Report episode 12 coming to you live. I had it in the bag and I just let it go.
Yep.
Thank you very much. We will catch you guys next week. I'm Nick.
And I'm Mitch.
And we'll see you on the slopes.